It's yet another crazy week for Elon Musk. We're going to review all the tweets that he made and the events that matter for both Tesla and Twitter. Some of the topics we'll cover. So last week started with a bang, with Elon selling a significant amount of Tesla stock. With the implementation of the new Twitter subscription Blue, there was some major growing pain. Elon held a Twitter space where he tried to appease the advertisers, many of whom announced they were going to pause. And then, funny as always, he called himself the Twitter complaint hotline operator and began to take notes of features that people want. And finally, we end with some great news for Tesla. So let's get started. All right. Well, first off, he sold some Tesla stock. This was not good news for many of us who are Tesla stock owners. And the question is, why did he do that? He started selling this in Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and he sold a total of 19.5 million shares of Tesla for a total of around $4 billion. Now, many folks are wondering why he sold. The big reason possibly is that he needed this to be able to help save Twitter. He held an all-hands employee meeting, and he told them at that time last week that Twitter is not in the clear. They're going to have to work really hard, and there's a chance that they might go bankrupt. And so this might be his way to shore up his amount of money that he needs to keep Twitter alive. It could also be something that because of debt that he had paid in order to buy Twitter, he needed this to repay that debt back as well. So for this, we don't know, but it was sure painful for many of us Tesla owners. The other thing that Elon seems to do and continue to do was he got political yet again. So last week, it started off with this tweet where he showed this image of a meme, and you see these three pigeons, and it's funny enough, it says 3 unread messages. Funny thing though, and maybe not so funny, is that the image actually turns out to be a Nazi soldier. So oops, not a good tweet to send out. And of course, that ruffled feathers. Now, the other thing he did was he absolutely did get political. He sent out this tweet before the actual elections, and he said, to independent-minded voters, what we need you to do, I recommend that you vote for a Republican Congress, because he believes that if the presidency is Democratic, this will share the power and will curb the worst excesses of both parties. He then added to that, saying that hardcore Democrats or Republicans never vote for the other side, so it's the independent voters who are the ones who actually decide who's in charge. That's who he's speaking to. And then he clarified as well, to be clear, my historical party affiliation has been independent with an actual voting history of entirely Democrat until this year. And then he does expand that he's open to the idea of voting Democrat again in the future. So he's basically saying that he wants to be centrist, and the only reason he's recommending Republican this time is to balance the power. Pranay Pathole sent a tweet out saying, hey, Elon has always been a Democratic supporter. The hate he has been receiving, though, from the Democratic senators has been awful. So Biden, as we know, doesn't acknowledge Tesla. AOC, Warren, and Sanders, they've been claiming that Elon doesn't pay taxes, and they've been attacking him. And so, this is maybe why Elon has been turning away from the Democratic Party. Elon replies back saying, hey, while it's true that I've been under unfair and unmisleading attacks from some of the leading Democrats, his motivation is for centrist governance, which he believes is the best interest for the Americans. So he's gotten political yet again, but the good news is that he's staying centrist as much as he can. Another big event that happened this week is this confusion with the Twitter Blue subscription. So as you guys know, Twitter Blue came out, and he started upgrading the feature to $7.99 per month. And what it allows everyone to do is now get a blue certified check mark, or white if you're in dark mode, but also the ability to get your tweets and replies and mentions to be amplified, and a lot of other similar features that it had before. The problem with that scenario is that now everyone who pays $7.99 gets that blue check mark. And so with that came a lot of impersonation that came out, and a lot of fake accounts. So first thing happened is Yoel Roth had to come out and remind everybody the policies that Twitter has, which is very similar to what they've always had before. And so Elon said, this is an important thread. You should read these policies. One thing that they then did immediately after allowing people to get that check mark is now have 2 verified checks. So not only do you have that blue check mark, or again, like I said, white check mark if you're in a dark mode, is this official label. So the official label now became something that is labeled to folks who are celebrities, politicians, and big brands. And it's a way to know who truly is the official account. The issue with that is that it's a label. So the label only appears when you click into the profile. It doesn't appear when you're just reading normal tweets. Problem is, within hours of Twitter rolling out this official label, Elon replies and says, I just killed it. And he thinks that the blue check by itself would be enough. Of course, this wasn't enough. Within hours of letting people basically get that check mark without just by paying $7.99 to be verified and not having any official labels, all these impersonator accounts came out. And so this is Nintendo, a fake Nintendo account. And the first thing they did was show an image of a Mario with the finger pointing up. But it's not only just fun and games. There's a fake Eli Lilly company. This is actually a fake account, even though you can see that the account URL is at Eli Lilly and Company. It looks very legit. And they say, we are now excited to announce insulin is free now. Well, the real Eli Lilly company was affected very poorly. In fact, many believe that their stock fell the day later because of this. But not only the stock amount, which was billions of dollars lost, but also this was a hit to their brand. So they had to come out and say, we apologize to those who have been served a misleading message from a fake Lilly account. In fact, their official Twitter account is LilyPad, which is really funny. So clearly they needed to have the official label to come back. And you can see that it is there now because Twitter had to backtrack and bring it back, even though Elon initially killed it. So the other thing that they did was they had to manage what happens with these parody accounts. So these accounts that are trying to come out there for fun or for malicious intent. And so what Elon clarified is that going forward, accounts engaged in parody must include the word parody in their name and including in the bio as well. So parody impersonations, if it's okay as long as you identify yourself as such, it's not okay if you're trying to trick people. And the other thing they then did was bring back that label where it said official, and now they're going to add the word parody as a subscript to that to clarify. This is one of the funny things that happened is Doja Cat got caught. One of the things that they had to do was immediately stop issuing more of the Twitter Blue subscription. So that was a pause, and many people got confused. They thought that they were ending it. They're not. They just had to pause it in order to control the impersonation issues. The other thing they did was they stopped people from changing your name so that they will stop people from changing the name to sound like an official account. And so this is, Doja Cat got caught because she had changed her name to Fart and she wasn't able to change it back. And so Elon says, we're working on it. And the good news was a day later, he replied back saying, you should be able to now change your name back. So, clearly all of this is affecting the way advertisers are viewing Twitter. Him being political, all these fake accounts, impersonations. So he held a Twitter space that was very well attended. Hundreds and thousands of brands and people attended this space. And Elon and his team attempted to give guidance in terms of how they're treating this, the new Twitter. And he clarified that they're not going to do racism and hate speech and so forth, that they still had the same policies that they've had in the past. They're going to try to fix the issues with the impersonations and the fake accounts, and they're going to be sure about the brand. Now, it doesn't help that he himself is still tweeting things that is affecting the advertisers. So it's unclear at this point whether this space worked or not. I think the general feeling afterwards was he did a good job, but maybe not good enough. Maybe not necessarily enough that appeased all the advertisers. So one of the funny things that's been kind of coming around too is that all the people thinking that Elon's going to fail. Why did he buy Twitter? You are not somebody that can manage a social media software company. And so it was kind of pointed out, and he tweeted back out after Omar sent his tweet, and he said, it's funny because in the past, when he was the internet guy, because he had created PayPal, he had, kind of like started from an internet company. Then from there, he announced he was going to build rockets. He was going to build cars. And people were hitting him hard at that time saying, how dare you? You're a software guy. You'll never succeed. Now it's the opposite. People think of him as this rockets guy and a car guy. And now they're saying, you're not going to be able to succeed as an internet guy. Well, that was actually who he is. He's a software developer and a technologist first and foremost. So one of the things he's done is announce new Twitter features. And it's exciting because as you watch all these events happening, it does start to make sense. One of my previous YouTube videos, I show a whole milestone list of all the features that's been announced by Twitter. So you should go and check that out. First and foremost, he says that what's really important is Twitter needs to become by far the most accurate source of information about the world. That is our mission. It is true that today Twitter is the primary source for real-time news. And then if they are able to find a way to identify and have less fake and misleading and disinformation, then this is going to become the best place for real-time but also accurate news. How do you make it accurate? One of the ways is through this thing called community notes. And so Elon is doubling down on this feature that Twitter had but hadn't fully rolled out. And so what this is the ability for community members to vote up some context information that will then be tagged to the original tweet. And so in this case, even Elon's own tweet was tagged and kind of gave more context of what community notes, which was formerly called Birdwatch, is all about. I have great optimism that this is going to be the way that we're going to be able to identify and keep people honest. When they make a tweet, there could be a community note attached to it to give it context. All right, so next up is Elon announcing that in the last weeks, he's only really bought the platform over a week and a bit ago, and he's already saying that Twitter usage is at an all-time high, and I just hope the servers don't melt. And he offered some statistics to show what has happened in the last week in terms of the usage. So despite all these announcements of people were leaving Twitter, and they're announcing they're going to leave because they can't handle Elon owning it, in fact, the opposite is happening. Not sure how accurate this is, but it's interesting information. The other thing that he's been doing is being very cheeky, right? He's basically appreciating any feedback. He's allowing anybody to say negative things against them and to hit him hard. But his always reply back is, go ahead and do that, but please pay me $8, $7.99 to become a verified user so that your voice can be heard. He changed his name in his bio to be the complaint hotline operator, and he accepts any complaints, but also new features. This is one of the wonderful things that he's been able to use Twitter for, and it's a real masterclass for anybody who's a CEO of a company or product manager. So here's another suggestion. Twitter DMs are cool, but it lacks some features. Make Twitter DMs archivable, add search functionality, enable replies to specific messages, all that kind of stuff. And he said, absolutely, the goal of Twitter DMs is to superset Signal, which is an amazing messaging application. Another user suggested that, can you purge accounts that haven't been active in the last 15 years? So there's actually a number of usernames that you can't use because somebody owns it, and it turns out that they've not even been tweeting at all. And this is a way for the old Twitter, who's advertising driven, to drive up their user numbers. And so Elon said, yep, that's coming. We're going to purge everybody who hasn't been using their user accounts. So be ready. If you had a username that you're interested in, this might be the time to come back and check it out. And then another user said, hey, all I want is to save video button, and I will even pay. And Elon says, yep, that's coming. Another one is, he wanted to make sure that all these changes that they make, he knows that they're going to make mistakes, much like the Twitter Blue subscription and the backtrack to that. And he said that, please note that Twitter will do lots of dumb things in coming months. We will keep what works and change what doesn't. It's a sign of a good product manager, a good business owner, to try new things and then quickly backtrack. It's the pace of innovation and the pace of the ability for you to react to that as matters than, the enemy, right? And instead of being so as accurate as possible, try to get things going. Another feature request: can the interface be fixed so when someone inserts an image in a tweet, like a screenshot, it's not automatically cropped and unable to be visible without people clicking on it? And so that's something that he said, yeah, we're going to fix that as well. He asked a poll, are you seeing far fewer bot scams and spam? Surprisingly, it's basically even. So it's hard to know if people's perception is matching reality. Another feature that the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, asked is that we need to better protect our children on social networks and the internet. And then Ian Miles Cheong said, if there's one part of Twitter's moderation team that could be expanded, it's the CSE unit. I don't know what that stands for. I'm assuming it's child safety. Actions must be decisive and have the immediate involvement of federal law enforcement. And Elon supported this. We will take action in this regard. The other funny thing that's been happening is that one of the ways that you can generate revenue as a creator that Twitter allows you to do is to have super followers. So for some high follower accounts, you have the ability to have super followers. Super followers pay you $3 per month for extra content. Well, the name super follower is kind of a little creepy, right? And so Twitter is going to change that. Instead of the words super follower, the name's going to be changed to subscribers, which is a nicer name. The other thing is that when you actually decide you want to pay somebody, it is public to everyone else. They can see that you are a super follower, which is, again, another creepy thing. And so Elon replied back and said, maybe we should make that default to be off. Many people don't want to be kind of publicly told to everybody that you are a super follower or somebody. Another request here is that Spaces should be scrapped. Twitter Spaces, which is this group kind of conference call meeting, a voice enabled meeting place. And Elon said, no, this should be evolved. It has the potential to be truly great. And as somebody who holds Spaces almost every single day, I truly believe that Twitter Spaces is very, very important, has a major role, and there's great ways that they can improve this. And so there's not only are they not going to scrap it, but they're going to improve it. So to end the week, at least there was some very good news for us Tesla fans. They announced that FSD beta version 11 is now live. So on November 11th, that's 11/11, at 11:11 p.m., they released FSD beta version 11. This is full self-driving beta, and they released it to 111 employees. So first, it's going to be the employees who get it, and then over the course of the weeks, they'll release it to more and more folks. Why this is a big deal is because version 11 is a single stack. So finally, they have one system, all the neural networks combined to manage not only, so instead of having 3 different stacks, they'll have one that can manage highways, city streets, as well as parking lots. And so that's the most important thing is once you get everything to one single stack, it's a big move for the infrastructure that then allows them to apply all the kind of learnings and the neural nets that they've learned in one area to the others as well. So Elon said that it's rolled out at 11:11 p.m. last night, and then it will take a few weeks to expand the beta, he said, then another few weeks to go wide release. So once FSD beta version 11, this is going to be the version that Elon and the Tesla team will allow to be wide release. This allows anybody who, if you bought a Tesla and you've got the subscription, whether the $200 a month or the $12,000 or $15,000 per year, one-time payment to own FSD beta, which is self-driving, or at least the advanced safety security for you for driving, then you can just go ahead and do this without having to, just by moving the toggle on, without having to do the safety score again. This is going to drastically improve the number of people, increase the number of people that's going to be able to try out this software, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So today we think there's about 160,000 beta testers, while there are probably up to 1 million folks who can try this out at this point. So he says that the only thing would be that once it's released this time, it's not going to have the actually smart summon. So this is the ability for the car to actually to come to you in a parking lot. So let's say you have the car parked in a parking lot and you can just press smart summon and have the car come to you. It might even actually have reverse summon, where if it can drop you off in front of the store and the car will go ahead and drive itself and find its own parking spot. That would be such an amazing feature, but he said it's probably till next month. All right, everybody. So this was a recap of all the activities that Elon did this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.